High School rebuilt this bench in the exact spot where it was, based off these photographs. This serves as a monument to Elizabeth. She was here for the dedication. It's very special to her because people from all over the community came together to make this project happen. Elizabeth sat here for 38 minutes, being screamed at and tormented by these people. And during that time, only a handful of people came down here to try to help her. First, you have Daisy's husband, L.C. Bates, the man on your right. At this point, Daisy and the others had started to arrive, and they heard on the radio that a Negro girl was being mobbed in the street. That's when Daisy remembered she forgot to tell Elizabeth about the change of plans. So she tells her husband, "Get down there, find Liz, get her out of there." Mr. Bates comes down here to her and says, "Come on, Elizabeth, I'm Mr. Bates, I'm gonna take you and get you out of here." Elizabeth had never met L.C. Bates before. She's a 15-year-old girl and he's a 40-some-year-old man trying to get her to leave with him. And she thinks, no matter how good his intentions may seem, my mother will kill me if I leave with this man. Next, you have Benjamin Fine, this reporter. You have a whole host of reporters down here who tried to create a barrier around Liz. But this one, Benjamin Fine, he actually is going to break protocol and sit with Elizabeth. He wraps his arm around her and says, "Don't let them see you cry, little girl." He thought to himself, if this were my daughter Jane, I would want someone to do this for me. And the third person, I just found out, is our visitor's aunt. So I have a better shot. It's Grace Lorch, this white woman. Grace is going to stand here. If you notice, she's got her arm shielding Elizabeth's head. And Grace goes off on the crowd. The only person to do so. She says, "How dare you? This is somebody's child. This is somebody's little girl. What if this were your little girl? 6 months from now, you are all going to be ashamed of yourselves." Grace and Mr. Fine attempted to take Elizabeth into Ponder's drugstore across the street. They wanted to call her a taxi cab. But they locked the door in Elizabeth's face and cussed her out. And so Grace and Mr. Fine came back here and stayed with Liz. When that bus came, Grace got on the bus with Elizabeth and rode with her for a few blocks until Liz felt safe being left alone. Liz will ride the bus that day the rest of the way to the deaf and blind school for Negro children where her mom worked. Her mom was listening to all of this on the radio, not knowing it was her child they were talking about. So, as for the rest of the children, they will remain relatively unscathed because of the large contingent of adults protecting them. You will not, however, see Melba Patillo in these photos because she did write that her mother drove her to school that morning as opposed to Daisy's house. When they got out of the car, people began to chase them, so they had to make a quick escape.